Predator, Killer of Killers, now streaming on Hulu, is from director Dan Trachtenberg, the director of 10 Cloverfield Lane, Prey, and the upcoming Predator Badlands, with co-director Joshua Wasung in his first feature-length movie. Previously, he was best known for visual effects for movies like Ready Player One, War Horse, and Prey. Written by Micho Robert Rutari, who has a less promising filmography that includes Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus, Dan Trachtenberg helped write the story. With Prey, Trachtenberg did what many fans wanted, a story of the aliens' long history of hunting humans that takes us to a different time period. Well, with this one, he doubles down on that. In what feels like a one-for-me companion piece to Badlands that was too little of a sure thing to go to theaters, he takes us to 3 different time periods to see the mightiest warriors go up against the Predator. It's an anthology that spans hundreds of years, but it all still comes together at the end. Also, it's all animated. It shows the creature as it goes up against a female Viking warrior, a Japanese samurai, and a young Latino fighter pilot in World War II. And all these characters have their own stories and motivations outside the Predator, making the segments feel more fleshed out. And it has some good action scenes, both with the Predator and between the humans. Don't think that just because it's animated, it's for kids, like one of those cartoon series from the 80s that tried to market R-rated movies to children. This one is as gory as any other Predator movie, at least that I've seen. And the animated format probably allowed them to get away with some stuff that might have been a little too difficult to film in live action. We're getting 2 Predator movies this year, and this one is sure to get people excited for the other one, although it definitely doesn't feel like an ad for it. This will probably end up being the more ambitious one, a movie that most franchises don't have the guts to greenlight, and even this franchise thought was too wild for theaters. After the public reaction to Prey convinced the higher-ups that people would probably go to the theater for Predator, Hulu still plays the cool editions.
First, he created the most frightening film ever made. Then, he took his unique vision of terror one step further. Now, George A. Romero takes us out of the night, beyond the dawn, and into the darkest day of horror the world has ever known. Day of the Dead.
28 Years Later is from the team that brought us the original 28 Days Later, director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland. As the title suggests, this takes place 28 years after the day that was 28 days before 28 days later. Anyway, the apocalypse is pretty much complete now, and a young man who was raised on a safe island is brought to the mainland for the first time to do some things. This will not be a peaceful time for him. This movie's full of zombie action and violence. The sequences where they show up are often very intense. For the most part, it's a gritty survival story. It doesn't really reinvent the wheel, but it does a great job at what it does. Although, it isn't perfect, and a lot of its flaws come when it tries to set up the sequel, which I only found out about after watching the movie. But it was apparently filmed back-to-back with this one, and they can't even keep it in line with the rest of the franchise's titles. I mean, would it really be too much to ask for these same characters to inexplicably still be alive 28 decades later? But whatever. To set up some character from the sequel, they put in some sequence at the beginning that seems like it'd be important, but never comes up again until the very end. And even that is done in a way that it pretty much went over my head, and I had to look up, who was that guy in that last scene? But that was only because for the whole time I still didn't know which character the guy in the beginning was supposed to be. Oh yeah, he grew up to be that one guy who shows up briefly at the very end. But what's really jarring about this is the complete shift in tone. Once again, everything before this was a gritty survival story. This last scene is an over-the-top spectacle of zombie killing set to a death metal cover of the Teletubbies theme. I'm completely serious. I'm guessing if this is any indication, the sequel's gonna have a more fun vibe. Hopefully that complements this one well and doesn't just make it seem totally inconsistent. Or maybe it's just that one scene and the next one's just gonna be the same as this one. But enough about the speculation. This one we're talking about now has some questionable decisions made and some tonal inconsistencies, like how some of the zombie kills are shot in a bizarre way where the frame just kind of freezes while they die, like a very poorly done copy of a Zack Snyder slow motion sequence. But it is a good, tense zombie thriller. It doesn't quite live up to Boyle and Garland's best. I don't know whether or not it's as good as 28 Days Later because it's been kind of a while since I've seen that. I'm guessing it probably isn't. But I saw 28 Weeks Later a few days before and it's a little better than that. Despite not being as great as I was expecting, it still excels in its own way as a survival horror story.